Another crazy late heroics win for the Indiana Pacers over the Dallas Mavericks. Should have needed it, but they did it. Bennedict Mathurin down the stretch. Wow. Pacers final minute. Perfect. Siakam is back. Their second half defense was awful. We have a lot to get to on today's Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Thursday, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today, another Pacers win, another very, very dramatic Pacers win as they beat the Mavs in Indy, 135-131. It felt like last year's Pacers with the high scoring and awful defense at times. And the heroics as the Pacers pulled this one out late. Their third crazy shot in the final minute of a game, in the final minute of the last 8 days. The final minute was perfect for the Pacers. Bennedict Mathurin was awesome. I'm going to tell you why. Pascal Siakam is back, and the Pacers defense in the second half was terrible. We have a lot to talk about today. I want to start with the final minute of this game. Crazy. The Pacers literally, I've tweeted this sometimes during the season, that, the Pacers lose this one unless they get a perfect X amount of time, however much time is left in the game, right? And this one was approaching that. I mean, if you check my feed, I old takes exposed myself twice down the stretch of this one. If you need examples, I will read them to you. Reminder, the Pacers won this game. Here are two things Tony East tweeted during the game. One, Pascal Siakam fouls a three-point shooter, and that will probably do it. Another one from just before that, nasty three from Spencer Dinwiddie, that might do it. Pacers haven't defended well. Some impressive shots from Dallas this half. Twice late, it felt like this was over. The Pacers were down 11 in the middle of the fourth quarter. With a minute to go on the clock, exactly a minute left in the game, the Pacers were down by 7 points. 7 points. Even if you're trading 2 free throws for 1, 7 times, that still is probably not enough time to win. You have to play perfect and get lucky to win that game in the final minute. Good news for the Pacers, they did that. They played perfect and got lucky. Ben Mathurin, who we'll talk a lot about in the second segment today, was great in this final minute, but here's what it took. Bad foul from Siakam. Max Christie makes 3 free throws with a minute and 7 seconds to go. It's 128-121 Mavs. It feels over. Ben Mathurin, to his credit, gets the rim, gets fouled by Spencer Dinwiddie, as Ben Mathurin did very often in the fourth quarter, and he hit both free throws. Clutch thing number 1 for the Pacers going perfect. They made both of the free throws. They're still down 5 with under a minute to go. Something they did very well in the final minute, though. They trap on the inbounds. The Mavs, for some reason, not for some reason, the answer is they wanted to get the ball inbounds. They kept inbounding it to guys right under the Pacers basket, really far from the Mavs basket, so they couldn't retreat to escape the traps. They couldn't go towards the opposing baseline. And so poor Jaden Hardy on the first one gets trapped by Ben Shepherd and I believe Siakam. Ben Shepherd gets a steal, scoops up the ball, push towards the rim, layup, bang. Pacers score 4 points in 5 seconds, and all of a sudden that 7-point lead is down to 3. This is their worst thing they did in the final minute. Ben Mathurin fouls on the other end. That was not a time they should have fouled, but this is part 1 of them getting lucky. They forced the turnover. PJ Washington misses the second free throw. So now the Pacers have cut their 7-point lead to 4 and have the ball. And Ben Mathurin, once again, draws a foul on PJ Washington. He hits both free throws. Pacers so far in 24 seconds, when they needed perfect play, have made 4 free throws, made a layup, forced a turnover, and gotten a free throw miss, which recovered and helped their boneheaded foul. So they've now cut their 7-point deficit to 2 with 36 seconds to go. They now can win the game. They now don't have to foul, but they probably should. Ben Mathurin fouls PJ Washington, and once again, PJ Washington misses one. The luck continuing for the Pacers. He missed the first, made the second, which is even better for the Pacers because now they're only down 3 and there's no chance of them not getting the rebound. The Mavs, down up 3 now, late, foul on purpose, kind of. Andrew Nembhard gets fouled. He stepped to the line. We just saw this against the Bucks. He misses the first. Chance to get it to a 1-point game. He misses the first. Makes the second. He gets to 17 points. It's a 2-point game. Once again, the Pacers still, they're down 2 with 26 seconds to go. They still need luck and shot making and perfect play. And they've already gotten it for 34 seconds. They once again, the Mavs inbound the ball way too close to their own baseline. This time to Max Christie. Poor Max Christie turns around. Oh, crap. Pascal Siakam's on me. I forget who the other defender was. It might have been Shepherd again. To the Pacers' credit, they talked about, they don't practice it a ton, but they do practice it. They were awesome at these full court pressure traps. The Mavs did not do a good job inbounding the ball into situations that let them get away from traps and create extra passing angles. But the Pacers' traps were awesome. They get the steal on Max Christie for their second steal in the final minute, which is just miraculous. 21 seconds apart. I can't do math. That's not 21. 29 seconds apart. Siakam to Mathurin. Mathurin drives, flips it to Siakam. Siakam to Nembhard. You guys have seen Andrew Nembhard hit big threes from this exact spot. If you didn't see the game, I'll make it very easy to picture it for you. Andrew Nembhard shot against the Lakers and Knicks, but like 5 feet to the right. Basically, left slot, top of the key-ish area, wide open with 16 seconds to go. He drills it. Suddenly, there's 16 seconds left, and the Pacers are winning 131-130, which means in 44 seconds, they went on a 10-2 run in 44 seconds. Absurd that worked out for the Pacers that way. Then they need to stop. Lo and behold, Aaron Nesmith, Jaden Hardy getting a little grabby as they run around a screen. Aaron Nesmith gets hit in the face. They call it an illegal whatever on the Mavs. It was on Jaden Hardy. So the Pacers get the ball back. Andrew Nembhard chance to ice it at the foul line, and he does. Jaden Hardy misses one more free throw for good measure because the Pacers foul intentionally up 3, and Aaron Nesmith puts the game away at the foul line. Unbelievable minute. I mean, I don't like these charts that websites make that track win probability. I feel like they're always off because I've seen some crazy games. This one, to me, when you're down 7 with a minute to go, your chances of winning are probably less than 1%. I would imagine that for every game in NBA history where a team is winning by 7 with a minute to go, I bet the win probability is over 99%. ESPN, for reference, had it at 99.4, right, on their little tracking thing. Here's what it took for the Pacers to win after Max Christie made all 3 free throws with a minute 7 to go to make it 128-121 Mavs. They needed a turnover on a press, a second turnover on a press, and to recover the ball on both of said turnovers. They needed 3 missed free throws by the Mavericks, although one of them really probably didn't matter. They needed another offensive foul turnover from the Mavs, and that was just stopping Dallas, right? They needed all of that in a minute just on the defensive part. On offense, they needed to make 7 free throws. Nope, I got it right the first time, Tony. Come on. 8 free throws and a 3 and a layup after one of the steals. Like, all of that had to go right in 1 minute for the Pacers to win this game. I mean, that is a crazy ending. I will give the Pacers a lot of credit for executing very well. You know, the Nembhard shot was an open 3. The Shepherd shot was a pretty easy layup. The free throws are free throws. None of the shots they made individually were like so challenging. You know, Obi Toppin's 3, Tyrese Haliburton's 3, insanely difficult shots in those circumstances. That wasn't the case in this one, but the odds of all of those free throws and shots going in is pretty low. Pacers deserve credit, and the players deserve credit for putting the ball into the basket, and the missed free throws by the Mavs, their own shooting themselves in the foot, but the turnovers the Pacers forced, particularly the 2 with their full court pressure, were all on their own work of really good traps. I mean, really good traps. Textbook execution on those. Mavs crumbled and gave it away. That was a perfect 50 to 60 seconds of basketball by the Pacers. And that's how they win a game that should not have required them to have a perfect 50 to 60 seconds. Mavs had 8 available players. The Pacers are up 16 in the first half. Pascal Siakam was cooking. I mean, this game should have been over. There's no reason they should have needed that sort of ending to get this done. I'll be more critical of their second half play in the third segment. But that was an escape maneuver, and they executed it perfectly. Everyone on the floor in the final minute. Pacers went small because Turner was not very good in this game. Thomas Bryant wasn't very good in this game. They went to Tony Bradley for rotation minutes with both other centers healthy. In this one, they went small late. It was the right call. Excellent play from everyone involved, and that is how the Pacers win. To get to that point where they had a chance in the final minute, they needed a hero. They couldn't stop the Mavericks for anything in the second half. They were down 11 with 6 minutes to go. How are the Pacers going to score enough to neutralize their bad second half defense? One man was ready for the late game task. We got to talk about Ben Mathurin, who was just awesome in crunch time of this game, coming up here on Locked On Pacers. Before we do that, got to talk about two great groups of people. First up, Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash and non-retirement accounts. It's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risks. Rates subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average. Savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC. That's on November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC is a member of the SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. We also need to talk about the great people over at Game Time. There's nothing like watching basketball live. Pacers Mavs was pretty fun. If you're in the building, the energy of the crowd, the sound of the sneakers on the hardwood, maybe even celebrity sightings courtside. If you want to catch a game in person, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. Their new feature, Game Time Picks, filters out the fluff and shows you only the incredible best deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time scrolling through thousands of tickets, but if you do, flip through the Game Time app. You'll see amazing deals on some huge matchups. Pacers Nets coming right up. Game Time Picks highlights super deals, giving you the best bang for your buck. And with seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and the lowest price guarantee, you can book your tickets with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. We're back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making this your first listen today and every single day. Go to Locked On Mavs for your second listen. I think probably the ideal night for the Mavs. Their non-star players showed that they're actually pretty good, and they still lost. Good for their draft pick. Fell out of the plan, I believe, because the Suns also won. Locked On Mavs will have more on Dallas and their spirited but not enough fight in Indianapolis. You know why it wasn't enough from the Dallas Mavericks? Because of Bennedict Mathurin. Holy cow. I mean, I think Siakam's probably better than Mathurin. Maybe. I mean, he had some rough defensive moments that we'll get to. Mathurin down the stretch was unreal for the Pacers in this game. And this is exactly what the best version of Ben Mathurin looks like. The Pacers weren't like terrible on offense in the second half of this game. They scored 45 points in the fourth quarter, albeit thanks to that crazy final minute, getting them to 67 in the second half. But like, I can't remember exactly how many they had. I could just look to start the fourth quarter. Yeah, they opened the fourth quarter with 90 points on the scoreboard at the time. And with 6 minutes to go in the game, they had 101. So they'd scored 11 points in 6 minutes to start the fourth. That's not good. The Mavs, meanwhile, had also been going crazy. They had 91 to start the fourth quarter, so it was a 1-point game. With 6 minutes to go, they had 112. So they scored 21 in the same stretch, and their lead got to 11. And the Pacers' second half defense was awful the entire time, right? We'll get to that in the third segment. That was really concerning, but their offense had fallen apart. They weren't quite getting the same Siakam production. You know, the first two made baskets of the fourth quarter for the Pacers were a McConnell 3 and a Tony Bradley 3. Like, they just weren't flowing to the normal shot that they take. Nothing looked right. Nothing looked right. Ben Mathurin enters the fourth quarter with 7 points. Not saying he played bad. He started in the game with Haliburton out. You know, his role is different with the starters, but he only had 7 points at the time. The Pacers were getting crushed by the Mavs doing exactly this. The Mavs were spreading out and letting someone, often PJ Washington, go. Just go to the rim. Go try to score. That is what the Pacers did in the final 6 minutes. 6 minutes to go. Ben Mathurin had 7 points in the game, right? 5:54 to go. Ben Mathurin driving reverse layup. Then Aaron Nesmith hits 2 huge threes. 4:19 to go. Mathurin only has 9 points at that time. Ben Mathurin running layup. 3:48 to go. Next Pacers possession. Ben Mathurin finger roll. 3:14 to go. Pacers next possession. Ben Mathurin turnaround bank shot in the lane. 2:51 to go. Pacers very next possession. Ben Mathurin gets fouled by Najee Marshall on a drive. He made both free throws. The Pacers next possession did not end with a Mathurin shot. It was an Nembhard shot. Nembhard missed it. Then the Pacers' next possession was Mathurin again. He was fouled this time by Max Christie. Ben and Mathurin made both free throws. Finally, Andrew Nembhard, on a pass from Ben Mathurin, by the way, drives to the basket and scores, capping off the stretch of Ben Mathurin doing literally all of the Pacers scoring. Nesmith hit a 3 to get the Pacers to 109 with 4:48 to go. The next 10 points were all scored by Ben Mathurin. before Nembhard scored. And then in the final minute, Mathurin hit 4 more free throws and kept the ball moving very well with a drive on the possession that set up the Nembhard 3 that gave the Pacers the lead. Incredible final 6 minutes from Bennedict Mathurin. 16 points in 6 minutes, and 2 of them came right at the start of that stretch that got him to 9. The other 14 points for Ben Mathurin's game all came in the final 4 minutes and 19 seconds of play. Incredible stretch. This is what is talked about as like the games that Mathurin can pop are. It wasn't like slow paced, but without Haliburton, McConnell was they couldn't really get the juice going. Obi didn't up the tempo like he can against Dallas. TJ McConnell again wasn't quite at he went, what was he, 1 for 6 in this game? I think his passing was good. Nembhard doesn't play as fast as Haliburton. They didn't have the speed. They didn't have the juice. And in a lot of those games, one or both of Siakam and Mathurin become better because in a slower game, they're the best Pacers scorers in slower paces. They can turn against matchups and score. And Siakam was awesome in the first half, right? I forget what he had at halftime, but it was nearly or at 20 points. He was very good. They needed someone to come alive late. And in that kind of game, as good as Aaron Nesmith can be, he had 18 points. He's not going to take over. Andrew Nembhard can, but wasn't to that point, although he finished very strong. He had 22 and 8. McConnell's not on the floor. They're playing small. It kind of had to be Ben Mathurin if Siakam couldn't do it, and it was. And what the Pacers did is they went small. Not that Turner's a bad shooter, but he was having a poor game. And they put not shooters again, but like strong offensive weapons on the floor. So I believe the lineup for the first part of the final 6 minutes where Mathurin's going crazy was Toppin, Nesmith, Nembhard, Mathurin, Siakam, right? So smaller with Toppin, that adds to the spacing element of the game. Nembhard and Nesmith, good enough shooters, and they just planted them out and said, all right, Mathurin, beat your man. And he did it every single time. Then they subbed to get smaller again and bring in Ben Shepherd for Toppin with 2:37 to go. Down by, I think, 4 after made free throws from Washington. But they were down 2 when the sub was like coming to start. So then it was Siakam, Mathurin, Nembhard, Shepherd, Nesmith. Nesmith 4, Siakam 5. Tiny. And the Mavs were tiny too. That made it possible. But that was, they were confident in their ability to space out. That's why I think they chose Shepherd there. Although to Ben Shepherd's credit, he defended very well in this game and was crucial in 2 traps in the final minute. It's like, why do people see who are like, oh, what is Ben Shepherd doing to make him play over other guys? Playing very well, usually. And he was good there. But that group was so spread out. And then Mathurin, who the Mavs have some good enough players who played, but PJ Washington wasn't on him. Najee Marshall wasn't on him. So that means he's being guarded by, very often, a guard who is at best an okay defender. Jaden Hardy's not a good defender. Spencer Dinwiddie's not a good defender. Max Christie's an okay defender, right? Ben Mathurin just cooked these guys. Sometimes it was by beating them, right? He was very shifty. He could get by guys baseline on right side. He went right a lot. Like he's very left strong with his drives. He went right a lot, but also in the lane with power to draw the fouls and even make shots while getting fouled, and then was perfect at the foul line, right? It's not like it's the best Pacers offense all the time to just say, everybody spread out. Let's give it to Ben Mathurin. He's going to go crazy. But in a game like this, where their usual strategy, pass it a lot, have the tempo, get and make some threes, wasn't there. They shot it very well in this game, to their credit. That made sense as a plan. All right, Ben, go crazy. We cannot score this quarter. We're really struggling to create the right shots. Go do it. Boy, did he. It was really a sight to see. One of his best stretches in the late moments this season. I very much enjoyed hearing him talk about it after the game, saying, I love playing when it's tough in games. I think that's where I thrive most. I love when it's difficult. Well, the Pacers need to convince him that all 48 minutes, it's a tight game in the fourth quarter. He was great. He literally saved the Pacers. He told Pat Boylan on the court right after the win that the team was desperate, right? And he was just being a dog. He totally was. Quite the finish. His exact quotes to Pat Boylan was playing hard and being Ben Mathurin. I love that. That's true. It's what he's been the best at. And, I always talk about this, and I still think that most of this adjustment is on Ben Mathurin. But I talk about the blend of Ben Mathurin's skill set and the way the Pacers play. And the team concept caters to more players fitting into a style. But also part of it is a little bit incumbent on the Pacers blending to what Mathurin does. And in this game and in this situation, that was what they did. The team blended what they were doing with what could allow him to thrive, and it worked. They shouldn't have been in that position, as Ben Mathurin said himself many times, but he was great late, and he gave them a chance to win in the final minute. And then the team took advantage with a flawless final minute. Crazy game. Crazy game. Pacers were up 16 in the first half. I thought, for once, this might be an easy win against a bad team. I turned to Dustin Dopirak. I said, wow, this is really interesting. They've played a very mature game. Look at this. Like, they never clean up this much against these crappy teams. I think when I said it, they were like up 11 or 12, like the middle of the second quarter. Immediately after that happened, miscommunication between Andrew Nembhard and Bennedict Mathurin, and it was a turnover. And I only bring that up to say, literally the moment I said that, the moment it came out of my mouth, it was 48-35, by the way, with 6:19 to go, and I said this. Here come the Mavs. Kessler Edwards 3, Kai Jones dunk. The Mavs came all the way back and took a huge lead. Why was this one so tough for the Pacers? Siakam is back. How is he huge? So much more to finish out this podcast of Pacers Mavs. Before we do that, we got to talk about Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with the top freelance talent across multiple industries: IT, AI, web development, marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. You can find the right talent. If you need help with marketing campaign, they can connect you with a freelance expert who will give you incredible results. It's fast and it's easy. Posting a job is free and simple. Within a day, multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Cost-effective growth, right? Instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps find affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale your business up efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now. Post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Back here again on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making me your first listen today and every single day. The Kings beat the Cavs. The Cavs have lost 3 in a row. What's going on there? That's a good second listen. The Pistons, who the Pacers keep wanting to see potentially lose and make it easier for the Pacers to be in the 4-5. Cade Cunningham hit an insane game winner in Miami. Locked On Pistons would also be a good place to go for your second listen. That was a very fun one to see while in the media room waiting for players to come after this game. For the many good things that went the Pacers' way, I want to get to Siakam next, but they were awful on defense in the second half of this game. Just terrible. Pacers started good on defense, 21 for the Mavs in the first quarter. Mavs scored 36 in the second quarter. That maybe should have been more of a sign that they were going to continue to score with comical ease. It never went away. 110 points for the Mavs across the last 3 quarters of this game. The Pacers are not lucky. They played well. They're fortunate that they defended much better in the first quarter against the Mavs team, working some guys back that was very disconnected, because the rest of the way, the Mavs were like, it was a joke. And I will say this. If you watch the game, the Mavs made some tough twos, some tough fadeaway twos. The same shots that I said against Philly, man, they can't make those all night. The Mavs did make them all night, but that's not why they were good. They were good because they did what the Pacers did with Ben Mathurin. They spread out. They don't even have that great of shooters, although they shot 41% today. They spread out, and they let guys try to go to the rim and score. And in the fourth quarter, Spencer Dinwiddie was making those, but he wasn't for the rest of the game. For the rest of the game, especially in the second half, it was Jaden Hardy, who was 8 for 13 on his way to 24 points. That was his first game back in a while. He was plus 10. It was Najee Marshall, who's been hooping of late. He had 20 points again and 9 boards. He was quite good. And the one that stood out the most, it was PJ Washington. He was just catch, power, bam, put it on the floor. He had 26 points. He took 10 free throws. Missing 4 of them was huge for the Pacers. And Washington in particular maybe stood out so much because, 1, he did a lot of his damage in the fourth quarter, but 2, he was crushing Siakam. Siakam was good in this game. He was a net positive because he scored 29 points and had a nice offensive night. That was one of the worst Siakam defensive quarters I can remember. The fourth quarter, he could not guard PJ Washington. And the Pacers took out Myles Turner, who did not play particularly well in this game. Turner, 3 fouls, 9 points on 6 shots, missed both his threes. He was -4. Thomas Bryant was playing more, and he made his shots in this game and had an FU rebound. It's been a while. He was okay, but again, they turned to Tony Bradley for a reason. They weren't getting enough from their centers, and they had to turn away from Myles. Myles came back in the final second, so I don't think it's an injury thing. Regardless of whatever reason he wasn't playing very much, right? They didn't have the rim protection back there, and they just could not stop the Mavs from scoring at the rim. The Mavs finished this game with 58 points in the paint. That sounds great. They had 6 in the first quarters. They had 52 across the other 3. A normal first quarter, given that average, would have put them right at close to 70. points in the paint in this game, just under that. So that the Pacers defense was really rough the last 3 quarters, and in particular the second half, where it just felt like the Mavs were scoring every single trip. They shot 54.5% with 8 available players. They almost equaled the Pacers in scoring with PJ Washington, Kessler Edwards, Kai Jones, Najee Marshall, Spencer Dinwiddie, Max Christie, Dwight Powell, and Jaden Hardy. The Pacers could not stop them. They deserve credit. The Mavs played well in this game. Like, those aren't a joke of a player. It's not like the Sixers last week, or it was a G League group, but they could not stop them. It was bad. It was really rough for the Pacers on defense. And then the Kai Jones of it all, he was just like slipping into space wide open, right? On inbounds plays, he would just cut to the basket. He would screen and roll and just be dunking. 8 for 9 for Kai Jones, 18 points, 11 boards. He kicked some tail against everybody that he was matched up against. That was concerning. The Pacers defense in this game was concerningly bad. I mean, when you give up over 130, that's the case. Last year, the Pacers had lots of games that were 130-something to 130-something. They felt a lot more fun last year, didn't they? This one felt very, not pathetic, but rough and stressful for the Pacers. The last year's versions did not feel this way. That was very concerning, I thought, for the Pacers, but they did win without Haliburton for the second time in a row. Pacers 26 fouls. That was also quite the problem. Both of these teams are quite foul happy. And the Pacers barely losing the turnover battle, but also losing the offensive rebound battle. So the possession battle didn't help them either. They shot it well from deep. That helped, and Mathurin was terrific late. Pacers more effective at the foul line in this game because they could not stop the Dallas Mavericks. 12 assists for Spencer Dinwiddie, 26 points for PJ Washington, 24 for Jaden Hardy. Those two combining for 50 in this game. Not a good defensive night for the Pacers. A lot of the other stats, a lot of the other stuff from the game didn't really strike me as so bad, right? They rebounded okay, like I just mentioned. They kept their turnovers down. In the first quarter, their defense was pretty good. I thought the Pacers' focus on the rim in the first half on both ends was pretty good. And it all just flipped in the second half. They couldn't stop at the rim. They couldn't score at the rim. They couldn't guard their yard at all. And without Turner, they weren't rotating well behind the play. It was just terrible. Just terrible. You know what helped them build a big lead that made it good enough for them to win, despite all that, was Pascal Siakam. Once again, back from his one-day personal reasons absence, Pascal Siakam, 33.5 minutes, 11 for 16, 29 points, and 5 assists. He didn't hit the glass that hard today, but they won his minutes by 4. Pacers won the game by 4, right? They needed him to be that good, and he was. And PJ Washington's a decent defender. Najee Marshall's a decent defender. But a lot of matchups came in this game where Siakam had good looks because the Mavs were switching so much. In some ways, they have to do that, but they have a lot of like-sized dudes available. That's like the only lucky thing they have going for them in all these injuries is they have at least enough size to not get crushed switching. So they did it a lot, and that got Siakam going in the paint. And when they would try to combat that by sending someone else, he got off the ball pretty quick. 5 assists, an impressive number for him, above his season average. Very good Pascal Siakam game, especially in the first half. I think he had 17 points at halftime. I hope that that's correct. I can scroll back through my Twitter feed to find it. So his second half defense wasn't very good. His scoring totally changed after halftime. Why can't I find this? But very good Siakam game. He was extremely impressive. The way that it went, and then the Pacers were tripping all over the second half. Andrew Nembhard was pretty good running the show in this one. 7 for 14. He made, obviously, the clutch 3. Again, I feel bad that I haven't talked about that very much. We've seen that Nembhard 3 quite a bit. It was awesome. He said nothing was going through his head in that moment. 8 assists, 22 points, only 2 turnovers. That's what the Pacers need from Nembhard when he is tasked with running the show without Haliburton, right? He was pretty good in Minnesota, too, before getting ejected. Not a coincidence to me that 2 of his better, maybe not best, but better games running the show as the solo point guard with the starters happens to be the Pacers' only 2 wins in games that Haliburton missed this year. Toppin good off the bench again. He made 3 threes. He's been on a heater this week. That's been huge. And the Pacers bench was largely solid in this one. I wrote a story about the Pacers bench day of the game, and I wanted to see how they would play, to see how that story would hold up. Mostly good. McConnell was a little off. Jarris Walker had some I'm calling it effort is mean, but I'll call it effort. Some effort issues. Didn't get back in transition defense twice in this one, so he only played 6 minutes and 11 seconds. He had a shot. He had drilled a 3. His threes come a long way. His offense is still ahead of his defense. It is what it is. He earned the minutes. He played good in Minnesota, but they needed a little more from McConnell finishing plays in this one. Their defense in the second half needed to be better. They were so inconsistent. But in the final 6 minutes, Ben Mathurin was great. Pascal Siakam got him to that point, and they finished it with perfect play in the final minute and a beautiful Andrew Nembhard shot that did not get enough love for me today. Pacers winners of 4 of 5 right now, which is crazy because I think nobody, including probably the Pacers themselves, think they're playing very well at the moment. 3 of those wins came on shots in the final 16 seconds that were massively important threes. Their loss came in Milwaukee with a garbage bench performance, yet somehow winners of 4 of 5, 4th place in the East. Their next 2 games are against the Brooklyn Nets, including one tonight. We'll podcast tomorrow talking Pacers Nets round 1. We'll see how they do. Playing the same team twice in a row in the same place. And we'll do podcasts after both those games. Thank you guys for listening. You can find me on Twitter at Tony R. East and this podcast there at Locked On Pacers. I'm also on Blue Sky at Tony R. East. Thank you all so much for listening today. Back tomorrow talking Pacers Nets. Till then, everybody have a wonderful day.